With Mortal Kombat 1 nearly upon us, and feeling the MK hype flow through my veins once again, it got me reminiscing about the old games and the vast array of characters this iconic franchise has given birth to over the years. From the janky sprites of the old arcade games to the legendary characters of the often forgotten 3D era, there are so many I'd love to see return. So I did some research. I played the old games and I parsed through the footage and the lore of yesteryear. I came up with 5 characters that I'd love to see reimagined and updated for Mortal Kombat 1 in September, characters only the most seasoned fans will recall. All 5 of these haven't been playable in a game since before NetherRealm Studios took the MK helm with Mortal Kombat 9 back in 2011. Let's get into the list. Coming in at number 5 is Reiko, who made his debut in 1997's Mortal Kombat 4. Reiko is a mysterious character with a backstory yet to be fully explored. His look is similar to the classic ninjas, sporting a maroon color, but a little bit more detailed than the generic color swaps of the original games. He's made distinct by his lack of a mask, as well as the black markings on his face and glowing blue eyes. Much of Reiko's appeal lies in his lore. Going back to his release in MK4, there has been much speculation on Reiko's relationship with Shao Kahn. His biography is limited, but we know he's a devoted follower of Shao Kahn, who he seems to have unwavering loyalty to. In his MK4 ending, he's now infamously seen sitting down in a throne as he puts on Shao Kahn's helmet. This sparked controversy for many years, with some believing he would later become Shao Kahn. These claims were later dismissed by the time Deception rolled around, as both Shao and Reiko appeared in the same timeline as separate characters. Deception also put into question Reiko's blind allegiance to Kahn, with him telling Shujinko that Shao Kahn's helmet will eventually belong to him.
Oh, Shao Kahn knows about that? Tell him I will no longer enter his chamber or wear his helmet. But just between us, his helmet will belong to me in due time.
Overall, I think this character has the potential to be sick, but really would benefit from being more fleshed out. In MK4 he was designed late, after the developers received pushback for having too many ninjas in the previous game. Reiko was the replacement for Noob Saibot, who was originally supposed to be in the game. You can still see some hints of Noob in Reiko, particularly his vertical teleport move, which is nearly identical to Noob's signature move, as well as the shadow grab, where he grabs and slams the opponent to the ground after reappearing behind them. In Armageddon he was redesigned, with the ninja getup being scrapped for a look that more resembled Shao Kahn. I like how they tried to expand upon him, but ultimately it was a missed opportunity as he still lacked a distinct style. I think there's a solid chance he returns in MK1. If he does, I'm hoping he gets his own personality and these copycat moves are scrapped. Reiko's got the look, as well as a mysterious past that makes him appealing to the lore. I think he could be a much cooler character than we've seen so far. Next up is Draman, one of the most disgusting characters in the series. The Devora before there was a Devora. This dude is not concerned about his appearance in any way. He's a vicious brute with a crude spiked club attached to one of his arms. He's also got a swarm of flies buzzing around him 24/7. He's something straight out of an 80s horror movie. Draman is a demon hailing from the depths of the Netherrealm, and he looks just like it. Aside from the club and the flies, he's got what looks to be severely burned and mutilated skin, as well as a green spiked mask that hides his horrific face. He's easily the ugliest character in the franchise, even surpassing maskless Cabal. Draman is a badass. Check out his MK Wiki bio. Draman was not always a demon, as centuries ago he was a cruel human warlord in Outworld. For his crimes, he died and was exiled to the Netherrealm, where his body and soul were to be tortured for all eternity. As the years dragged on, he fell further and further into insanity until his humanity was lost altogether. Draman made his debut in the 3D era in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. In Deadly Alliance, he and his partner demon Moloch were offered freedom from the Netherrealm by Quan Chi if they could protect him from Scorpion. He was later betrayed by Quan Chi, big shocker, who attempted to leave the two stranded in the Netherrealm. Draman's fighting style is centered around his club. He's got a pop-up ground pound move, a wild kamikaze move called Propeller Clock, which involves him swinging his club like a pendulum, and his Ball of Flies attack, which you guessed it, is literally a projectile made of flies. When I was first playing Deadly Alliance back in the day, I was drawn to this character probably because of how grotesque he was. I think he's a badass and would love to see him fleshed out further for MK1 or a later game. Unfortunately though, Ed Boon said in a Game Informer article a while back that along with Su Hao, Draman was his least favorite character. Here's to hoping someone at NetherRealm can change his mind, because Draman is nasty.
Draman wins.
Next up is Motaro, the oldest character on this list, with his debut in Mortal Kombat 3 as a sub-boss. This dude was tough, with extremely powerful attacks that sent you full screen and a teleport that led into grabs and other attacks. Like Draman, Motaro is ugly. He's a centaur, or half man, half horse, with horns and a long rat-like tail. At 9 feet tall, he's one of the game's biggest characters, as well as one of the widest, taking up the width of 2 or even 3 normal-sized characters. Like many of MK's other sub-villains, Motaro competes for Shao Kahn's approval. Along with his entire race, Motaro harbors a deep-seated hatred for the Shokan, the race of Goro and Kintaro, whom he sees as inferior. I think Motaro is sick. I mean, what other fighting game has a fucking centaur as a character? I also love that he's a villain. He's not beautiful or majestic like you might expect a centaur to be. He's ugly, despicable, greedy, evil, and merciless. Par for the course for Mortal Kombat. After MK3 and MK Trilogy, he was absent from the series for a long time, reappearing as playable for the first time in MK Armageddon. This version was much inferior, however, as the developers opted to remove his hind legs due to hardware limitations. The in-game explanation was that his race had a curse put on it by the Shokan, which left them with just 2 legs. Yeah, pretty weak. This makes Motaro much more generic and less cool, a tragedy for the game's once legendary sub-boss. Motaro infamously made an appearance in the comical Mortal Kombat movie Mortal Kombat Annihilation. If you agree with nothing else I said so far about Motaro, I think he should be considered for future games for this appearance alone.
If those bars could keep me away from you, Shiva, I would welcome them.
I'd love for Motaro to reappear, but only in his full centaur, full 4-legged glory. Motaro is owed a better rendition, as he hasn't been properly done in nearly 30 years. I think it's unlikely he'll return anytime soon, as he would still probably create issues due to his size and model. But a man can hope. Coming in at number 2 is Moloch, Drahmin's partner in crime. Moloch is in the same vein as Drahmin, grotesque, purely evil, and also hailing from the Netherrealm. Moloch fulfills the beast or animal archetype, representing extreme strength but low intelligence. Moloch made his debut in Deadly Alliance alongside Draman, but is unplayable, serving as the game's sub-boss. He's only been playable in 1 game, Armageddon, making him one of the least playable characters in the existence of the series. Like Draman, Moloch sports a crude weapon, this time a steel ball chained to his arm. He's slow but extremely damaging, with simple, crushing, and lumbering attacks. Moloch and Draman are called the Oni, both tormentors of souls in the Netherrealm. Though disturbing and evil beyond belief, the pair is oddly charming, sort of representing one of those brains-brawn duos we've seen many times. The pair has a relationship with Quan Chi and Scorpion, but don't interact much with most of the other cast. Like so many characters from the 3D era, Moloch would benefit greatly from a more developed history and lore. I'm a big fan of these animalistic characters, and I think Moloch fits that archetype to the T. Modern MK games haven't really had the beast archetype. In MK9 and 11, Shiva sorta fit the bill, but we're talking about Shiva here, who I think is not really on par. In MKX, Ferrator fit the bill, who was certainly a cool and unique addition, but doesn't capture the raw, animalistic brutality of Moloch. Moloch is unapologetic and a bit representative of an MK that took itself less seriously, I believe, than it does today. Moloch is a brute, nothing more, nothing less, and the game isn't afraid of that being the case. We haven't had a character like this since the 3D era.
Listen. Do you hear it? The symphony of pain. Your voice will soon join the others.
I hope I'm not the only one who'd love to see Moloch make a comeback. I think it'd be sick if he played in the style of Injustice 1's Doomsday. Simple and special move driven, but needing skill to get the most out of. The amount of power you'd feel bashing people's heads in with that wrecking ball would be tough to match. And here he is. The top character I think should return is Havoc, also known as the Cleric of Chaos, possibly the most badass nickname I've ever heard. When I first was making this video, I wasn't planning to have him as number 1. I was considering Motaro or Moloch, but after delving into his backstory, it really couldn't have been anyone else. Havoc marked his debut in the 3D era in Mortal Kombat Deception, and played a role in the game's Conquest story mode. Havoc hails from the Chaos Realm, one of the more underexplored and mysterious worlds of MK. It's a world of literal chaos, a land with no government and absolute anarchy. With floating rock formations and pools of aging, the realm defies physics and logic. Havoc isn't good or evil. He'll align himself with whomever he perceives would sow the most amount of discord or chaos in the world. He's against anyone who seeks to rule with order, like the Dragon King Onaga in Mortal Kombat Deception, and his eternal rival seems to be Hotaru, a warrior native to the Realm of Order. His goal in Deception was to revive Shao Kahn, who he believes will return Outworld to a state of chaos. His cutscene in Deception is epic, and really puts into perspective his ideology and worldview. He's also a bit of a troll.
Well done.
Well done? You tried to kill me!
Nonsense. How could I teach you the way of chaos if there was an agreement, a structure to the lesson?
Oh, I think I understand. I was learning from the unpredictable nature of experience, not from a structured tutorial. I did not realize you had no intentions of harming me when you attacked, and therefore I learned to adapt to what I perceived to be a real threat.
You are correct, except I would have killed you if you had given me the chance. I was quite serious.
How can you not love this dude? Havoc's moveset is also notable. It can be summed up in, I believe, one word: odd. Torso spin is perhaps the most memorable move, with him literally spinning his torso like a top with his arms outstretched to smack his opponent. He's got the wild-looking diving corpse, where he quickly and violently throws himself under his opponent. He's got a low projectile in which he bends his knees the wrong way like an absolute madman. He's got the head snap, which involves him snapping his own neck, which in true Chaos Realm fashion actually restores his health. And finally there's the corpse taunt, a more radical version of the head snap, restoring even more health but with a longer animation. It's possibly the most grimace-inducing move of the entire series. Havoc is sick, and seems to be a step above nearly all the other characters from the 3D era. It'd be absolutely nasty to get a more modern take for Mortal Kombat 1. Well, there you have it. My picks for the 5 forgotten and old school characters that I'd love to see make a return in Mortal Kombat 1. There are many others that could have made this list, like Motaro, Hotaru, Kintaro, and Onaga. I'm hoping at least a couple of these make the cut for Mortal Kombat 1. And if the recent leaks are true, they just might. Who made your list? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe. I'll be making some more Mortal Kombat content going forward. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in Mortal Kombat 1.